invite the Almighty God to come and be with us. That's why I said, he has a option of me. May his soul rest in peace. He has run his race. He has accomplished his mission. And he has kept his faith as a member of the African National Congress. Amen. And it is only today we are saying thank you to the family of Tami for rendering. That's why when I started, help me to serve while I'm still young. Can you imagine at that time when he joined Mkondo Wesizo? How old was he? And he has rendered his services. What else you would want? We have once more gathered to bid farewell to a child, a foreign hero, a man who fought with pride for the dignity of this country. And it is only today we say to Mali's family, thank you very much. I am Biso Makama about those who fought with pride and dignity. Come and be with us when we bid farewell to this young man. Give us one spirit and say, I know he died not being a happy man. He waited for the elections to come. And we performed poor. But we are saying, Tami will correct that. Can we tell anything? Let Jesus Christ will amen.
De la Thamsanqa Mali. Jale ka moruta sa builore. Khetile mona re tlo di leboa. Ka re le ka di mesna tlase. Se lo reng ke Thamsanqa Mali. Khat Sibanda. Complete Bosalenyoka. Today I had to mo mo celebrate. Ke tseba ha re tlile mona. He was an activist. Colleagues and comrades will come, but and importantly, in a remote to our school, but contribution to education. Hakibato Sinyanako, Impakibatore, Kaufela, the Traxate Mona Lebua. The body member ANC Youth League, a Women's League, the veterans of People's Glorious Army Mkondo Wesizo, the commanders are here, Comrade Bulera, Comrade Tandi, Comrade Duma. We are honored to have our provincial secretary of the ANC. We are honored to have one of the men who has spent so many years with Comrade Tami. The comrade came all the way from Eastern Cape. He's a former president of COSAS, our Honorable Comrade Lulu Johnson. We have an honor to have one of the young lion of this region, who happened to be the National Secretary of COSAS, Comrade Buddha, is with us today. So, family, that day Mali Ulanento. Comrades will come and share experience about Liena. Kodi Tutenza Angola, colleagues come Batobuaka Yena as one of the first directors in this country and in this province. Comrades will come and talk to you about various roles that you play. I was here during the week, met the senior, and I keep on the Nigeria. One of our comrade heard Arakimangu. So, Nana today, what that's about is not last day. Nerbuaka Sonakima. Nesin that they fail, Melinda was chav. I reached all one as away. Another 80% of the colleagues that are here, whenever can answer me, never it's a man moon do lot. So, Kanto Usinyanako, ntho tse ngata re tla di bua e dipolotiki empa re batla hore family ya Mali tshedisehang re mona o tlo re ho lona se le hlahetseng ha sa hlahela lona fela re mona re tlile le di-comrades tsa rona from the province, the organizing team, comrades who made it possible hore ho bane le se re nang le sona today, the tent and everything. Comrades, Comrade Duma, we thank you for all the contribution. Babon Kit and the team. Without any waste of time, I would like to call upon the zonal chair of this area. As you might be well aware that this area is Midval. Normally, when we have funerals, the branch that is welcoming us, but because of the statutes of Comrade Tami, the collective decided that, you know, protocol it's a state funeral, the zone should speak. So, Comrade Tifo Mulaki, please come through and say a word or two on behalf of the ANC to welcome all comrades who are in this tent, their friends, families. Comrade Mulaki, are you here? Let's give him a revolutionary song.
Shona malanga, shona, shona malanga, shona malanga, shona malanga, shona, shona malanga, shona malanga, shona, shona malanga, shona,
You must agree. That's one trait that I really wish that all of us had. And then he got sick earlier this year, and he went to hospital. I came to see him. Now I work very far, I work in Cape Town. So I then came to see him. I spent quality time with him. I was happy because I had not seen him in a long time. And then he then went back to hospital. That was the last time we saw him. And Malume told me that he succumbed to cancer of the liver. Yeah, so he has left a big gap in our family. And siyabulela ubukho benu. Ndithi futhi ke ndithi nakuni dudusekani ma comrade. Asilakahlelanga sodwa. Siyazi ba beniphila naye. Ndiyabulela.
Okay, comrades, because time is against us, I will just try to rush into the program. I would also like to call the son Mr. Thamsanqa Mali to come forward.
Sanibonani. Mina ngukholisile Mali. Uthami Mali was my father. I stand here before all of you guys today as a proud son. I've heard stories about my dad. You know, most of the stuff that he did before I was born. He did a lot of great things also after I was born, you know. And he had always told me stories about his past, you know, every now and then. But I don't think he told me like the full stories of everything he did, you know, because I think he was maybe afraid to let me know the other side, you know, of maybe his time in exile and all of that. But over the years, I've heard stories from different people. Since he passed on, I've seen people post and all the writings and all of that. And, you know, like I said before, he had told me stories as well now, you know, and I was already a proud son then. You know, I already had like an idea of the stature of the man he was, I guess. You know, and it's not until he recently passed on, unfortunately, that I am really only now slowly starting to understand just how much of the stature of a man he was, you know. And like I said, I am a very proud son. But it's not only that I am a proud son, Uguti, now I can see just how much of a stature of a man he was, you know. I've been a proud son for a while, you know. I even named my son after him, you know. I named my son Uthami Mali after I had like learned how much of a man he was, because I couldn't let myself not have his name live on, you know. Which is why I named my son Uthami Mali, because I wanted his name to live on because of the greatness of the man that he was, as I have been learning over the years, and as I am still learning. And I am sure there's still more stories that I'm still going to hear. There's still more stuff I still don't know that I will still get to know, you know. But all in all, I am deeply saddened, obviously, by his passing. And things will never ever be the same, ever, because he's the only parent I had left. And now, though I only have my brother, like I was telling him, Uguti, I don't know where I go from here, you know, because my dad was my everything, you know. He was here all the time, whatever I needed, anything. You know, I've heard stories of how he was a disciplinarian, how a wrong was a wrong, a right was a right, and all of those things. But that's not the Thami Mali I know. You know, me, the Thami Mali I know personally was a softie. You know, me on my side, with my dad, I could probably get away with anything. You know. So when I heard the stories about him being a disciplinarian and all of that, I was shocked, you know, because I did not know that side of him, you know. I remember they told me, Uguti, when it comes to schooling stuff and everything, he was very strict, especially with school stuff. So, because I remember there was a story that my mom told me about my brother here and Uchabu. I think they did something at school, you know, and I don't know, I think they were fighting or they stole or something like that. And then they came back home and he gave them a hiding of a lifetime, you know. And I was shocked even then, because me, I'm 24 years old now, and my dad has never even raised a hand. You know. So when I heard that story, I was shocked. That cannot be him, you know. So I remember when I got to grade 10, and then, you know, boys, being naughty, I bunked school, you know. And then, I was at a friend's house. My dad called me. He said, Bazomlanda. And then one of his friends came to fetch me by my friend's house when I was supposed to be at school. And and then I thought, okay, no, today is the day. Today is the day I'm gonna get it. You know, I came back home expecting a hiding. I'm already preparing myself. I got home. I'm like, hey, Baba. And then Oli said, hi, son. No, it's fine. You can go. You know. So yeah, that is the man that he was. He was a softie as a dad, I guess, if I can say. You know, I guess I was like, if I can say that, you know. And I'd like to thank all of you for coming and being here to honor my dad. And I would like to let you all know that I am a very proud son standing here in front of you. And yeah, you know,
hi everyone. My name is Tsepo Mashaba. I'd like to consider myself as Tammy's first son. Although I'm not his biological son, but I guess family is not only blood. You know, I met Tammy when I was, I think, in grade 3, when he met my mother. He was still in District 9 as a district director. I remember I moved from Mayfair Convent when I lived with Tammy, and then we moved here, as Putspoon said, in 97. We went to Elo Ridge. Tammy is one man who had the most impact in my life. And I don't think there's anyone who's ever come across Utami and has never impacted them in their lives in some way or another. I know a lot of his friends that would come here. I mean, like I said, I knew this man from when I was a baby, you know. I was the first person to call him Ubaba, you know. And he was a good father at that. Kolisile is like him. Because as he says, he got Tammy as a softie. Tina gets him tole when he was at his peak. You know, when I moved here, no child, my way to Miss Tolindugu every time, you know. He was one man who was very passionate about his job. He was very passionate about his struggle. He was passionate about his organization. Koli's right. A wrong was a wrong. A right was a right. There was no gray areas when it came to Tam. You know, he taught me a lot of things that I know in my life that today that I've implemented in my life, and I'm a man that I am today because of the role that he's played in my life. He gave me a platform in life. He put me through school. Tammy paid for my education from primary school all the way to high school. You know, even after high school, he was there. He loved me, he took care of me as a son. And then, you know, I remember the story that he's talking about. Actually, that day we didn't steal anything. We didn't wake up. We stayed at Queen's High, and we were in boarding school, Mina no job. And we decided to sleep in when everybody went to school. And then we woke up, we were woken up by a knock. Masivula umnyango siyabona uThami and a friend of his bathi uJoe. Yo, that day we got a beating. It was a crazy one. Mina no Jaba, remember. We came back home, we got another beating again for the very same thing. You know, I remember yena noBab Mandla as well. Ngiyambona uBab Mandla manje ukukholisile bathola abantu sebakhathele, they're old now. You know, uBab Mandla nami sekachona nokuchonga ngambheka manje ngikhahlele nele stick sakhe. You know. But then, you know, literally we were, you know, I was raised by a soldier. You know, when they say you were raised by a soldier, Ubaba was a commander and a commander in blood. I don't think there's anything else he could have been in life but that, because he did it so well, you know. But I'd like to thank him for the presence that he implemented in my life. There's so much I'm grateful for. Like I said, he gave me a platform, he gave me a future. You know, I'm the man that I am today, as I still say, because he played a huge role in my life, you know, and I'm sure in a lot of people's lives that he changed and he touched. So it's true that we have all lost, you know, a father, not to just me and my brother, but to a lot of people here, you know. So thank you all for coming. Thank you for the support. And I thank him for his life, and I hope we'll celebrate it. And most of all, I thank him for my brother, because he left me with something that, yeah, will always be there for me. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. As I said before, we are running very, very late. I will quickly go to the next speaker. That will be Comrade Thamsanqa Mali. Comrade Thami. Comrade Frank.
Viva ANC, viva! Viva ANC, viva! Viva COSAS, viva! Viva ANC Youth League, viva! Viva the South African Communist Party, viva! Amandla! Comrades, I'm told I need to be very brief. And I am going to try to be very, very brief. Ngibulisa wonke ama-comrades awakhona, leadership from the provincial leadership. I saw the provincial secretary. I saw the deputy chairperson of the ANC is around. And all other structures that are here. Let me just conclude by saying all protocol observed. I have seen also my former colleagues at education, former colleagues at transport, and yeah, all other friends that I know from different places. Ngoba kuthiwe ngakhuluma isikhathi eside, ngicabanga ukuthi ngingasayifundi lento bengiyibhalile ngokomanda. Ngoba mangathi ngiyayifunda izongithatha isikhathi. Kodwa ke ngeke ngisaba ukusho ukuthi in 1997, as I went to the Gauteng provincial legislature on behalf of a student movement called COSAS in Gauteng, I went to present around issues of the South African Schools Act and the Gauteng Schools Act, the impact of its implementation, the impact of its role and transformation of education in general in the country. After the presentation, I was approached by a tall, dark man. I didn't know Ubabu Mali by then. He came to me and greeted me and said, I really appreciate your input that you made here in this forum and the manner in which you responded to the questions that were posed to you. The sitting was attended by various student organizations, teachers organizations, including the Association of School Governing Body. By then we only had the Association for White Schools, which was FEDSAS. He then proceeded by saying, can I have your contact details? I was so surprised why he wanted my contact details, because we didn't know each other. He introduced himself to me and I introduced myself to him at that moment. I gave him my contact details. 1998, around month end April or the 1st of May, around there, I received a call from his office. The call was saying that Ubabu Mali wanted to meet with me. However, at that moment, I was injured because I was involved in a car accident with other comrades from COSAS. And unfortunately, in that accident, one of the leadership of COSAS in Gauteng had passed on. So I couldn't walk properly. I then responded to him to say, I am unable to come to your office because I am injured and I'm still trying to recover from the accident. He then said to me, no. This meeting must go on tomorrow without fail. Give me your address. I became cautious, but I didn't have a problem. I gave him my address, and he then said, tomorrow at 11 o'clock, you must be ready. I will send for you, someone will come and fetch you. Then I said, no, it's fine. Indeed, the following day, a car was there around 11. I was fetched. I remember my mom took me to the car because I was still limping and made sure that they take the details of the person who was fetching me and the like. Around 11:45, we were at the district office. I think he had some meetings then because I was told just to sit and wait for him by the reception. 12 o'clock exactly, he said the meeting would be at 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock exactly, he sent and I was called to his office. Few words, We're going to have a very short meeting. I have identified a role that I think you can play in the district based on your understanding of education policies and the like. Will you mind to join the department? Before I could respond, he further said, I was not given a chance even to think about it. In fact, he further said to me, before I could respond while I was trying to think, he further said, he said, I identified a position in the district. Do you want to join the department? How about to join the department? Are you employed? I said, no. Immediately when I was trying to think and respond, he then said, no, but the meeting is closed. Go home, recover, but someone will come and take your documents. And it was history. I immediately joined the department through that process. While I just joined the department, I was put in a section called school governance. I remember in that section, there was Ubabu Dlamini, Ubabu Eric Dlamini, and other colleagues. Within a short space of time, after I joined the department, the chief started having targets for me. I'm still young, I'm confused, I'm trying to find myself in the department. The first target was that you must have a license in 3 months. Because I didn't have a license at that moment, I have a license. In short, he would ask me every time when he meets me around the office, how far are you with your license? What is happening? Blah, 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 blah. Then I got the license and started driving or working or doing all the works for the department. The second target, in 2 years' time, he said to me, Thamsanqa Mali, ngiyazi uhlala nabazali and you have a home and you are fine at home. But I want you to invest in a property. You must have a house. Even if you don't stay there, you can lease it out while you're still staying with your parents, but you must buy a house. I saw that I don't have a chance. I was also given time frame that I must do that. I had to meet it. That is the short story about me joining the department. But then, when we started working, going out to schools, going out to stakeholder meetings where you will be addressing and meeting stakeholders, you will have a funny way of introducing me in that meetings. For instance, I remember in one meeting of the Johannesburg Central schools, where it was almost Indian and former Model C schools, one principal asked a question. It was around the South African Schools Act and the establishment of school governing board, to say, why do you insist that learners must be represented in the school governing board? Instead of him answering the question, he just said, I think the young lion in the district will be able to answer that question through the police. And he then said, Thamsanqa Mali and Koluba Pendu. Just like that. I was not even prepared or ready to answer the question. But I had to answer the question and do it within the framework of the law. Mr. Mali will empower us in the district in different ways. Whatever that was done at the district, he will make sure that we are all involved. If you don't want to get force you, but when there's a meeting, whether it's over the weekend, whether it's afternoon, you will make sure that the information is disseminated to all staff members and say people must go. But the reality is, he also had his own team that he would always go with because he knew they would always be available. In closing, Program Director, I just want to talk about my personal life with him without work life. Ubaba Mali, he took me as his own son. I remember when both my parents passed on, he came to both funerals. My parents were buried in Venda. He made sure that he attended. But not just being there physically in terms of attendance. He also assisted me in burying my parents. He gave me money while I was employed working for the department and said, Thamsanqa Mali, please don't misuse it. I will not mention the amount. Don't misuse it. But just make sure that your parents are buried in dignity. Both parents. When my mom passed on, because she was the first, the same was done. When my father passed on, he did that. Ubaba Mali, we will go to different meetings. We will go to different areas together on daily basis. Ubaba Mali trusted me with his life. When we go to meetings, when it is time to eat, I will stand up and go and dish up for him. And he will not question or comment. When I bring the food, he will eat like I have prepared for him. However, when we're in a meeting, when someone goes out and bring him food, he will say, Thamsanqa Mali, thatha le plate, idlulise. I will go fetch his food and bring him his food. People will try and dish up for him. Others sometimes they will irritate him with that process because at all. I'll mention beetroot. Wafaka beetroot ekudleni kwakhe, you've messed this day. Messed this day. He will tell you, this reminds me of the life in exile. The blood that I used to see. He wouldn't want anything to do with beetroot. As we go around, Ubaba Mali liked his juice. He liked his Red Bull. He liked his iced tea. And obviously, Ubaba Mali was a smoker. Every day, coming back from work or any other meeting, will stop at Spa. He will stock his stuff. Juice, Red Bull, iced tea, cigarette. But it is not only about buying that. The staff at Spa were benefiting in the process as he came to bar. Ubaba Mali was so generous. As he buy those things, whatever the change was, he will give to the staff. To such an extent, masesingena eSpa, the staff, the tillers will fight to save him. They will stand up. The way he was so generous. You know? So I'm trying to say today, as the people, as his children, as his friends, as his colleagues, as his comrades, we have lost. The heavens has gained. Hamba kahle tata, hamba kahle comrade. But as he used to say that indlela ibuza kwabaphambili. Ngiyacabanga ukuthi ngoba uhambe phambili kwalomlisi oqeda ukuhamba izolo okuthiwa uFW de Klerk. Uma efika lapho mangabuza kuwe ukuthi kuhambeka kanjani lapho, ngicela umbuyisele emhlabeni eze azosiphendula kuqala ukuthi uDavid Webster wabulawa ubani, ukuthi uEmma Sathege wabulawa ubani, ukuthi uComrade Chrisani wabulawa ubani, ukuthi who authorized the SANDF to train the soldiers or the warriors of the IFP to go and attack our people in our township. Thank you, comrades.
Angola, 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 Dina, Dina, Angola, 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 Dina, Dina.
session when we come to the second phase of the program. And now can we just try to rush through the family, the phase one of the program. I would like to also call on the friend, Babu Mandla Maseko, to come forward.
So I left Angola. I went to Tanzania to work with the OAU. I'm a Shiri Angola. And then from the OAU Tanzania, the ANC sent me to UK to work with a DIP with Jim Marcus, former Reserve Bank, and Francis Meli, the editor Chava, and Umzala Kumar. And then some years later, Tammy came. I was based in London. And then at that time, when he came to London, I was in Manchester. He came in Manchester and we were happy to meet. And then I left him with one late comrade who Tabondlu. He was also schooling at Manchester University. He did his master's there. When they come to London, they all converge in my house. When they came in my house, everybody was demanding because I used to, as a terrorist, run around London by foot. Uganda, Abakosho, Armenia, they were selling food. So I used to cook food in my house and Nepal. So everybody, every South African, even those we found there in London, they didn't know where to buy food. So time will come, smoke his cigarette and demand food. I'm a cooker, I know how to cook. And because I found that young man there ibona bengehla eAngola bengehla ukuthi siyopheka okunye thina staff sasibiza isikopho sometimes uhlangana nezinyo lenkomo kuso sikopho lesi ifana njenge what do you call it? beef tin, yeah, bull bread, yeah. What is the total amazinyo enkomo ngaphakathi? So we lived with Tami, Ubuso Benyoga. They formed another group, Beno, with the elder brother Panyas and Smith, Unix. Bonke bahlala la endlini yami. If bengabhadalisa rent ngabe ngirich. Because most of the South African can be white, Indian, and Chinese what? They would phone me at the airport, the Heathrow airport, which is Zobalanda, and the bongo was from the and I had to ask the former or the late chief representative who made him Sima, what must I do? How will I feed these people? Then the ANC will give me money, particularly in photo. But I get up away, people are not drinking to a special. Tammy was being my friend for a quite long time. I feel that I can, and some in 70, but I went back to the army. So, 2013, I was shot. My wife tried to find it out time while I was in hospital. Timmy organized a seminar. I think in Angola, especially one military hospital, I found a platoon with arsenal in my house. Makati, action del mundo. I organized all time. Thomas, who called to West Thomas. Who yeah. Don't find out Thomas. I'm push-ups much. Okay. Anyway, not to waste time. Meaning last second. Last second, the whole program, it went to a uniform Abidjan Salute. Because we were such a code. We're not such a code. We more than I say we feel this man. I'm such a code. Foot's proud. No, Bangas, Gina, Basile, oh, Bangas, Shia, Bangas, Niggers, Intel, Abafaders, not a Nazo team, but we are proud to be members of the Glorious Army. Thank you.
Comrades, this is, you are in Ward 11, Midval. Our branch is wealthy with political commissars. We have Thamsanqa Mali, we have Commissar Teker is here, we have Commissar Smokey. We are very wealthy, and others are lying low. They are all here in Midval, in this ward. Without further ado, can I call a colleague, Advocate Joe Chilwan.
Ibambe,
colleagues and comrades, if there are still any left, good afternoon. We are approaching the evening. The program director, members of the bereaved family, with Auswusi included, the leadership of the African National Congress and all other MDM structures, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for having given me this golden and wonderful opportunity of talking about an educator. A lot of people used to refer to him as a teacher, and I want to correct that here and now and once and forever. Thamsanqa Mali, also known as Commander of the Armed Forces, also known as the Black Diamond, also known as Usobenyoga, was a very great man. He was not a teacher, because with teaching can both be negative and positive, but a pedagogue or an education cannot in any way be negative. You can't teach young ones how to steal. You can't teach young ones how to disrespect their elders. You can't teach them you can't educate them, but you can teach them those. Now, Mali to me was a pedagogue, and he was also a pedagogician in his name and right. Mali loved education with passion, and when I worked in his office as one of the managers and the senior manager in his office, he used to send us to schools where there was no educative teaching and learning. And the predetermined objective of sending us there was to stabilize those schools within no time. He would give an instruction and say to us, go and ensure that tomorrow morning educative teaching and learning starts at full force at that school. And how you do it, I don't care. But when you come here, you must come and tell me that teaching has started. Educative teaching has started at the school. Mali loved education, and Mali was an asset for the Gauteng Department of Education and the whole nation. When I said colleagues and comrades, if there's any left, I said it with a reason. There are a number of people, I looked for them, that we worked with at GDE, who used to come here and literally camp here, even depriving the commander time that he could spend with his family, quality time that he could spend with his family. But today they are not, we don't see them. It is for the fourth time that I come here, and I've never seen one of them. Now that is actually confirming the fact that when days are dark, they are not few in this time. They are non-existent. And when I was told that I will be talking at this memorial service about Tammy as a colleague, I realized that, and I was given the program, I realized that, okay, phase 2 has quite a considerable number of people who are well qualified and who are authorities to speak about Tammy as a revolutionary. And they will do that. But there are a number of things that Tammy Mali taught us. He taught us, one, to be loyal. He actually said that when he faced problems, personal problems, within Gauteng Department of Education, I said to him, if Commander, this can happen to you, what about us? He said, the mistake that you are making, you forget that ANC is a national movement. You forget that ANC does not belong to any individual. You can start with OR and down to those that are still alive. No one of them has a title deed of the African National Congress. The African National Congress belongs to the people of South Africa. And stop being a member of a member. Be loyal to the ANC, not loyal to different individuals. Even if you can be hurt, even if you can be crushed, do not despite the ANC, because you are nothing without the ANC. The other thing that Thamsanqa Mali taught us is scientific tools of analysis. That Thamsanqa Mali could think on his feet. Thamsanqa Mali could think on his feet. And a number of people could not tolerate him because he was just like that. He will call a spade without dilly-dallying, without beating about the bush. Thamsanqa Mali did not like Christianity, despite the fact that he was born in a Christian family. He also had the tall banji. I know he was given the tall banji by the old father when he passed on. But he did not put it on. And I now, after having studied through why and who is actually resembling a younger brother to Jesus Christ, a man who would bring smiles on the faces of all of us. Why doesn't he like Christianity? Then I came across a quotation by Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi said, if it were not of Christians themselves, the whole world could be Christian. And he even further more said that God gave us both the operational, gave us the strategic plan and the operational plan in Matthew 22, in Matthew verse 22, Matthew chapter 22 verses 34 to 40. In those, you will read it at home. You will find the summary of the law as recorded in that Matthew's. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and soul. That is the strategic plan that was from above. And to operationalize this strategic plan, there is another commandment which was equal to that. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. And then Commander loved us all. He loved everybody. He brought smiles to the faces of a number of us. He even reminded me of what Nelson Mandela once said. He said that it is not important that one lived. What is important is the difference that you made to other people. And Thamsanqa Mali, I tried to convince him as a Christian that, but Christianity is noble, brother man. Follow it and what have you. I said to him, when Jesus was at the wedding at Cana, he realized that wine was in short supply. And he directed that water must be brought, and he changed that wine with that water into wine. And by so doing, he was nationalizing the wining industry of that time. That is communism. The feeding of the multitude with loaves, 5 loaves of bread and fishes. Jesus made them to multiply. I said to Commander, by so doing, Jesus was nationalizing the bakery and the fishing industry of that time. And he said, Tuksa, that you will tell to the birds. If one is to talk about Thamsanqa Mali, one can take the whole week, the whole month, the whole year, and the whole century. And I suspected that I'm going to stop from somewhere when I realized that I'm the last one in phase 1. I'm the last one in phase 1. Perhaps they knew that Joe can go out of hand. Joe can shoot from the hip. He can even tell you of how Tammy left GDE and what have you. But he said in politics, there are no permanent friends and permanent enemies. And in those words, he was using those words, he was quoting OR. Thank you.
Amanda, comrades, just to sum up phase 1, the last engagement as a branch with Comrade Thamsanqa Mali was during the councillor nominations. There was few unruly comrades who were making noise. He was busy saying, I will quote you, I will give you, I will make copies if you don't have of the ANC constitution. In terms of section 25, you do not qualify to be whatever you are claiming you want to be. You must maintain high discipline as an ANC comrade. The constitution was his Bible of the ANC. The constitution of the ANC was his Bible, and he transferred that to us as a branch to say, you must always stick to the ANC constitution. You will never go wrong as a comrade. Be ethical, be disciplined at all times. Therefore, on that note, I would like to call Comrade Nzeki to go through with phase 2, which will be more of political speakers who will be taking from here.
Amanda, comrades, we are burying a soldier. Wangena moralu ngayiquli. Thank you, Comrade Lebu. Thank you, comrades, members of the family for welcoming us and the good support in the Filenyona. Comrades, kitokupa jena here because we are streaming. The service is live. Kitokupa because of hadna sufficient light. Kitokupa the speaker the club buafel and the factions, ne? Then we'll get a shapa after that. Again, comrade. Please, cooperation will be highly appreciated. Comrades, this is how we're gonna deal with this issue, political program. Comrade langa khatebe. Comrade langa khatebe. For only 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Then after comrade langa khatebe, you flick. Otobala auspatsili so message of support, 3 minutes. After comrade, so tetsi ritlobale ndate butana hakiam mona, military veterans. No, not military veterans. Veterans League. And the latseba kiri kontunza in the ambush. We cannot afford not to have our comrades eluding many of us comrade Mbulelo. Comrades who came to join ANC and MK in exile in '85. Many of them, they were product of COSAS. There's one person in South Africa, when you talk about COSAS, you know, when we were growing up in the valley, comrades will tell you, when we wanted to do something, they said to Ululu Johnson, who's telling what he sends the song, we didn't even know him. And they resonated throughout the country. Everywhere, the battle was about Ululu Johnson, who sends the song. But today we are privileged to have a comrade Lulu Johnson. After NCU Flick, I would like comrade Lulu Johnson to come through, express them to come and say a word or two. And after that, we'll have a comrade from South African Communist Party. Will just give us, will give comrade 3 minutes. As well, comrade Tembi Ngosi. Then after that, we'll have a commander Tuma Malam. Comrades, I think we could order you again. Okay, without any waste of time, comrade Langakhatebe can do youth league. Ngitawe bambe comrades, sifuna ukuyishaya fast because siyastream. Justify. Comrades, justify. Comrades, justify as sifihli soldier and shine maximum discipline. Justify. Ngoba sithe kuwe iya stream dentole asna light and dentole nabantu bayibhekele live. Ungasabotage asiqala ukubona umuntu omjani.
Mandla. Untabasha wangena ngathi babazalwane. Program director. Mandla. Long live the spirit of Thamsanqa Mali, long live. Long live. Long live the undying spirit of Thamsanqa Mali, long live. Long live. Ngizothanda ukubingelela zonke inkokheli ekhona ngegaba ngokuhlukahlukana kwazo ukusuka emabranchini ukuze kuyofika eprovince ngaphansi kobuholi banobhala we-ANC ubaba uComrade Jacob Kawa. Ngicabanga ukuthi useyishilo program director ukuthi igama ngolanga wakade ngokuhlala ngihlala khona la eSavannah City extension 4 uMRDP. Engize ngakho la bangiphi ithuba abantu abasha on behalf of RTT ukuthi angizokhuluma ngale iqhawe selilele la kubaba uMali. Ubaba uMali ngimaze ngonyaka 2014 ubaba uMali. Mangimazi ubaba uMali ngonyaka 2014 bese recruiter sibuya from Orange Farm ukuthi no ibranch lehamba. Kunabantu ababeyi members ka ANC babehlala kule order bahamba bayojoin opposition. As a result labo bantu labo mabeyojoin opposition eDA. Base bashare ama strategy and tactic we-ANC ne-opposition kwi-DA to say na indlela esingayisebenzisa ukuthi sikwazi ukuketula i-ANC. Ubaba uMali ke no Comrade uJesse, the late Comrade uJesse abeza kuthina baza ngomqondo ukuthi ke kubalekile ukuthi sihambe siyorecruit amanye ama-members azokwazi ukuzoregister ngapha. Ngaba omunye umuntu abantu abasha ababa very instrumental kuleyo program ekutheni ke siyoregister abantu si-collect abantu abasha ababehlala ko-Orange Farm go-Everton nako-Fine Town ukuthi abazoregister la kule ward kwi-ward 11 so that sizokwazi ukuretaina i-ward 11 sisu-ANC. Ngikhuluma ngobaba uMali wangifundisa indlela yokuhamba ukuthi khanjwa kanjani makhanjwa la endleleni. Ngithe ngihamba endleleni siphila nayo baba uThami uMali. Ikhathi zinzima ke wayengibiza uvuka ibamba ngangamazi nani ukuthi igama likavuka ibamba lisho ukuthini. Ngafundiswa ubaba uMali ukuthi no sabantu abasha abantu abasha uvuka ibamba. Wangirecommend ubaba uThami ukuthi ke angene ku-BC eyayikhona because wayengibona nje umfana omncane uyaluzayo nje ethi lo mfana lune-energy funa simthathe simsondezela sikwazi ukumfundisa inhlangano because simthumayele and ngihamba ngonyawo ngaleso sikhathi simthumayele eDideli abuye ahamba ele koyenimuru kodwa uyishaya ngonyawo and wenza ngayo yonke indlela ukuthi ANC yaphila la yabo. Wangirecommend ubaba uMali mangirecommenda ukuthi angene nami ku-structure se-BC ngakhethwa-ke nami ngiqokwa ithimba lababa uMali. Engikuhlonipha kakhulu ngobaba uMali noma engithandile ngakufunda njengomuntu. Ngumuntu ophansi mina kakhulu ngokuthi mawungi-analyze ngokwama-material condition. Angiyena umuntu omusha onemoto mhlambe noma nomuzi noma ongakhombi intwanyana ethizeni kuyena abanye abantu abanazo. Kodwa ubaba uMali beyangenza ngifile ngathi nami ngibaleka ukudlula kuwo wonke umuntu. That was ubaba uMali. Ebesithi mahlethi ama-comrades engage nobaba uMali athi into ofanele kuyichaze ngendlela elula ezokwazi ukuthi understand wonke umuntu. It's unfortunately ukuthi ubaba uMali uhamba kulesikhathi esinjena ba amagerilo omkhonto wesizwe. Ngenhlanhla ngizalwa yiwo nama amagerilo. Ngenhlanhla nje ubaba ongizalayo mina uyigerila. Ungahlonipha kakhulu amagerilo. Ubhlungu ukuthi
i-welfare yabo ayisekwazanga ukufinyelela kuyo. In actual fact bayaboshwa babhizi badlala amajele kumanje ngokuthi bafuna imfuno zabo ukuthi into zamakhomanda zenzeke kodwa zenzeki. Abazokwenza bazoba crucify, babafake emajele, babavulela amacala, babathathe from pillar to post ngezathu zokuthi babethenjisiwe ukuthi ke fanele ukuthi kube nento ethizeni abazoyithola ngonyaka 1994 abangazange baze bayithola up until today. I think njengabantu abasha fanele sik understand ukuthi obabamali mabe ujoin umzabalazo babe ngabona abantu abadala kwabantu abasha. Through the 4 pillars of the struggle ngonyaka 1985 obabamali babe hosayinyova ngaleso sikhathi nizokhumbula. Namhlanje ngiyezwa bayikhuluma indaba yalomuntu ohambile uNgqwankulu uDeclerk kuthiwa lo muntu lona wayilunge kakhulu, lo muntu wasinika inkululeko lo muntu lo, kanti it was the 4 pillars of the struggle ezamphushele khoneni ukuze aye kuma negotiation la wagcine bekona. Izinto efanele sizikhumbule lezo. And it's very true makhoma ukuthi thina siyafeyila siyile generation yethu, particularly ka 2011. Our generational mission my comrades besithi economic freedom in our lifetime. Sizamile ukuyirescue ANC maqabane. Ukuthi size need these nalama police nali 7 cabinet pillars of the ANC Youth League si generation ka 2011 kodwa ANC uyahlulekwa implementa lama resolution ka 2011 as a result namhla banga below 20 ba below 50% because of such maqabane. And we are unapologetic about that because fanele sikhulume lento bayazi leyo. I think abantu abasha it's about time ukuthi sihambe soyithatha membership eMarabhodi so that sizokwazi ukwenza ngayo yonke indlela ukuthi these 7 cabinet pillars of the ANC Youth League siyazipusha ngayo yonke indlela. Ngoba ukuthiya ukuthi abantu abayimiselanga ukuba wenza umsebenzi. Abajahile ufanele balethe amakamera babupha ama-comrades basho zonke lezi zinto eziningi ekhona la. And if asikhulume leqiniso leli angazi lokhulunywa ngobani. Obabamali bakwazi ukuphusha umzabalazo njengoba ngichaza bakwazi ukuphusha umzabalazo obaba uDeclerk bangene ekhoneni bagcine benganayo ichoice. Kufanele baze bayicreate indlela ufanele kuyoxoxa. Ngo-2012 abantu abadala bebesidefy. Umdala ukhawa ngenhlanhla ukhona. Bebesidefy abantu abadala ngo-2012 conference but international politics parental forces asivumi sathi thina simile ngalezi 7 cabinet pillars because impilo abantu abakithi akashintshi. The special type of colonization is saphila ngaphansi kwayo namhlanje. It's very sad maqabane masuka la majority of abantu bazobesuka ngenyawo bebhekela emakhaya. Sisasokola up until today makhoma. What are we saying is the ANC Youth League? It's about time makhoma ukuthi uthathe membership eMarabhodi. Sambe ntoshintsha the status quo because the status quo ayisebenzeli makhoma. Mandla.
Amandla. Yeah, comrades, comrade langa uyibekile. Comrade Matsidiso. Angithi comrades yazi ukuthi i-youth ifanele ukuthi ibe militant akithi. Nathi sendlele lapho. Thina comrades who came before us babasitshela izinto sithi hayi comrades hey thina sifuna ukulithatha kusasa. Abo comrade duma bathi hayi abafana bethu. Thina bafika nabo bafike bajahile abakhomanda batshela ukuthi hayi ANC I understand the patience we see. But comrades, without any time, comrade Matsidiso hayo. Comrade, comrade Amos Munyela. Maruto Guadaruna go online. Ola ba again, ola ba again earlier on. But before comrades, Retobita comrade from SACP, comrade Bonginkosi, to say a word or two messages of support. Then immediately the president, comrade Lulu Johnson, just to greet us, to say a word or two. Then we carry on the problem. Comrade Bonginkosi, can you just give us the message?
Mandla, wait too. Indeed, Comrade Tsinki, Retopatarisol. And they allow us to celebrate the life of Comrade Thami. Just in 2 seconds. I don't think in 2 seconds we can take your time. Just in 2 seconds. Nanguthekwa nematutu yangilandela uskiphe kaveni. Nanguthekwa nematutu yangilandela uyangilandela. Thank you very much for it. We have to celebrate the life of this giant, Comrade Thamsanqa Mali. a disciplinarian of high note, an educator, a man who was worried about the state of affairs in the organization. And I know Comrade Thamsanqa, we were supposed to have an appointment where we're going to sit down with Comrade Mali and share some of his experiences, because Comrade Mali led and he was with senior members of the SACP in exile. And he goes now with that, we're supposed to meet with him and share that memory. Comrade Mali is leaving us 1 week just from the local government elections. And of course, he was worried about the ANC, because he would have wanted to see ANC winning mid-Van. But our behavior, which was his main concern as a chairperson of the disciplinary committee in the province, was a matter of concern to him. I know at some point I had to meet with him when I was in a disciplinary hearing to be a witness in a particular case. And of course, one thing that he tested as a chair of the disciplinary committee is the knowledge of the organization to the witness. You've got to understand the organization first before you can become a witness. And one of the things that he asked me, Comrade Thamsanqa, are you willing to give your testimony in front of those who are charged? So I had to answer yes or no. And if it's no, my testimony is likely to be questioned. But if yes, and I say what I say in front of the perpetrators, definitely I'm not afraid of saying this. And it means I'm telling the truth in front of the perpetrators. And that was Comrade Mali for you, because he believed in facts more than anything else. Now, Comrade Jacob, what is left of us now, Provincial Secretary, it's how do we go back to the masses and do the mass work. Going back to the masses and not doing the mass work is like we're just playing. Comrades in City Bay, when Joburg was a hung municipality in 2016, they were priding themselves that they won Mfuleni outrightly. Now, and you would have thought that Comrades have learned something out of that situation. But Comrades never learned anything. We have never learned anything, because today, Mfuleni is a hung municipality. And some of you comrades and some of us were very proud to tell comrades from Joburg to say, you have a hung municipality, as if we are doing something not to be in a hung situation. And today we're in a hung situation. But what bothers me, and I so hope that some of the comrades who are leaders in the region here, Comrade Jacob, are here. Because we must say these things without fear or favor. It cannot be correct that when you are discussing coalition talks, you are also discussing your own coalition within the ANC. You start to talk about power sharing within the ANC. It cannot be correct. And when we raise these things, then you say we are demanding positions within the ANC. No, comrades, we are not demanding positions. We must be very clear about that. Do what you think is right that you are doing, but do it better. We appreciate what you are doing, but just do it better. We were supposed to be disappointed about the results of the local government elections, but comrades were not disappointed. In fact, some, they think that the coalition talks and the coalition situation will give them a space or a last chance to go and loot more. We must say these things without fear or favor. We must say these things without fear or favor, because at the end of the day, it's not me and my family who are suffering the damage, it is the ANC. It is the ANC. People are not voting the ANC not because they do not love the ANC. If people that did not love the ANC, they were supposed to go into polls and numbers and vote against. They decided to hold back their votes. They say improve yourselves. But Comrade Jacob, unfortunately here in City Bay, there's nothing that has changed. Comrades are meeting amongst themselves. They are discussing power sharing. We are giving you the mayorship, give us the MM. What is that, comrades? What type of a discussion is that within the Congress movement? Instead of us being worried, how do we go back to the people and do mass work? Because that's what should be occupying our minds now. Let's go back to the people and do the. I thought Comrades Pooh is here, Because I want to say, because I am saying it here, and I'm not whispering it, and I'm not gossiping about it. I am talking about something that they are doing. Mandla!
Amandla! Comrade Thamsanqa. You see, comrades will tell you Communist Party, the role that it played in shaping the leadership of the ANC. If you look at Midval, it's a base of Communist Party. We have Comrade Ace. Many comrades would know Honorable Exile, Comrade Ace is staying Kamon as one of the key comrades that were here. Muleo Nadula Stratin Sonasina, the senior members of ANC and members of Communist Party. But comrades, Comrade Pierce, Comrade Thamsanqa is saying it was important. ANC haya Kholwa because it's a home. But we don't know about ANC are that. But that's the way they turn into cutting. And comrades, Kawana the Tlemona, Harata Mona to politique. That's why I get to feletsa resolve. Arabatlo sane bo kolisile ba re batho bana batla di hae mona. A tshwantse ba tsitse ba jwetsa ka mathata bo. I get about communities. We have our platforms where we deal with these issues. But the truth of the matter, there are a lot of challenges. And the challenges start na mona di simple comrade Comrade Lulu. Our challenges are very simple. We all know who are the culprits, who are doing all these things. Fully we know who are the troublemakers. And I don't think that it's only, we know people who have caused ANC this thing. We know in Midval who's creating problems. You know, comrades, some of the things retire over handle. Literally, utlisa family tsabo. Batla di bus wa family sebetsi was comrades here. Others are the comrades are deployed at Mofanagadin. Comrades di Faba to Lisabati Basil Bafadin. So, comrades, these things are things that are irritating our community. And we know about these things. The Khatet comrade is correct. Comrade Tami would call us here, the comrade, we deal on the case. And I'm trying to say analyze. We'll analyze the case, but here's the problem here. You know, sometimes it's diplomatic about these things. One of the frustrating things at comrade time, the actions I didn't go for. But what we are saying to say, we are in a process of renewing and rebuilding the ANC. Our comrades are understanding the thing the comrade president is saying. Comrades, let's call comrade Lulu Johnson, the president, Atresa, then straight away General Omar Commander. Comrade Lulu.
Mantla. Mantla. Uzonibona ndimncane kangaka Tambo ndinekipazu. Uzonibona ndimncane kangaka Tambo ndinekipazu. Tambo ndinekipazu. Mantla. Program Director, family of Comrade Mali, leadership of the ANC and its allied forces present here is led by the Deputy Chair, Comrade Panyasi Lusufi. Comrades, Comrade Mali, you invited me to come and visit you at your home. And I'm only visiting you when you are no more. Together, myself and Buddha and Comrade Tami would have long nights seated somewhere, but he would still have been insisting that I come and visit him at his home. He gave me a picture of how his home looks like, and unfortunately, only on Monday that one came through here to pay his respect. Not all is lost, my brother. even as you leave us in this hour of need in our revolution. As a young generation, we are confident that we shall turn the ANC around and we shall end South Africa, we shall set it free for the motive forces as defined in our strategy and tactics. The motive forces are defined there. They tell you about women, they talk to you about young people, they talk about Africans, black business. These are your beneficiaries of our revolution. I repeat, the report out there tells you that with our 90-10, yesterday it was 80-20, the other day, today in fact it is 70-30. 70 as you bid for anything in our government, you are told that 70 at some point was 80, at some point was 90, it must be price. Then with the crumbs, you are there to fight among ourselves. These are your women, these are your youth, these are your people living with disabilities, these are your veterans, all having to share in those crumbs. Today it is 30%. That report tells you that white business in South Africa today is asking itself a question. But these people have been fighting and getting all these things against us. If we had known that this is what they wanted, we would have long given them. Precisely because the most beneficiaries of our revolution today are white business. It's a fact. The slogan that talks about unity in action sounds like light words. Just imagine, comrades, where the resources that we spend in our little factions in corners, the time that we spend in those little factions, and the energies, if all of those would have been directed towards a unity project whose task can only be about a strong ANC and a strong Communist Party, a strong COSATU and a strong SANCO. Just imagine, when you convene any conference, there is more money out there in those factions than money within the organization. And the organization is struggling. Even as we speak today, I take it that we are talking among each other here. That you have an ANC staff member who cannot be paid for 3 months. Today, what we call this, the Provident Fund having been taken away, the medical aid have been cancelled. It's a shame. And yet, a number of our leaders, they are billionaires. There is something very serious that is happening with our movement. And I cannot really begin to imagine how it gets to be. As you leave us, Comrade Mali, you decided to pull one of us, Comrade Johannes Jongo Mancane, along as you give one consolidated and balanced report to the leadership of our movement. Comrade Joe just gave in yesterday only, as he would have been suffering and being ill like you, Comrade Mali. You are one of a chosen few among the principled until the end. You gave your life to the revolutionary movement and the people of South Africa. COSAS claimed you as one of its own, who united in a student worker alliance program that brought Transvaal at the time to a standstill. It is such occasions that as we speak among ourselves that we remind each other of where we are going. Lest we forget, the Education Charter remains an ideal that we must all pursue so as to give clarity to the type of education that we want in South Africa. As a new activist before SATU, you rose as part of an alliance collective on the occasion and united the people of the then PWV. Organizing is a skill which we ushered over time, always working in alliance with the strategic and tactical alliances. Comrades, we have come to pay a tribute to a disciplined cadre of our movement. Part of what constituted of any ANC activist was utmost discipline, guided by its constitution that dictates that it continues to be a crime against humanity to pursue divisions and factionalism within the ANC and its allied formations. Visiting OR Tambo the other day, myself, Rabu, and Peter, and Ignatius Jacobs, may his soul rest in peace. One of the things that Comrade OR Tambo raised, lying in bed at the time, was about the divisions within the movement. And he cites the Harare Declaration and how he got his stroke out of such a process. But critically, President OR Tambo was talking about the information out of which a meeting of the ANC shall have been sitting. Within no time, that information is out there. There used to be a publication called Africa Confidential in London. And I just have been Googling about it. It is still in existence, that organization. And National Executive Committee of the ANC, only of 25 members, information would be leaking. That's what killed Comrade OR Tambo, among others. And unfortunately, such a disease is still continuing within our movement as we speak today. Whether we meet as a regional executive committee or a provincial, let alone meeting as national executive committee, that disease is still there. So as the ANC and SACTU, as you acted on instruction in such a Transvaal stay away of 1984, such a unity of students and workers brought Transvaal to a standstill, all in pursuit of our struggles. As I mentioned, that part of what we have as the ANC is to do away with divisions and factionalism. They do not assist the ANC at all. They can only serve the enemy. Question that we should ask ourselves is whether do we really want to feed the enemy? It's a big problem that we really have to interrogate among ourselves. This is in 1991, as some are going back home. Comrade Tammy, among others, were part of those that remained at number 28 Penton Street in London. That would have been your ANC office, alongside with Comrade Steve Chote and many others. I remember meeting him at that office and almost blew his cover as I referred to him as Tammy. He was very disciplined on those issues. His love and passion to education was no match that upon returning back from exile, he joined the Department of Education. Indeed, 2020, 2021 are years that have showed us flames. Many families' homes have since shut down. We have lost a father, a grandfather, an uncle, a comrade, an ANC activist, an MK commander, and a daddy, and a Communist Party commissar. As we honor Comrade Tammy, let us espouse his discipline, dedication, and focus. I'm aware that such words are familiar. We all talk about it as we go into any of these funerals. But this time around, I am confident that under your leadership, Comrade Panyaza and Comrade Jacob, such words shall be living words, whose aim can only be about to change the lives of our people for the better. Lastly, to the leadership of the ANC in Gauteng province, there is no one country in the world that does not look after its military veterans. And once you do that, you do it at your own peril. Long live this undying spirit of Comrade Thamsanqa Mali, long live. Maibu, yeah!
Yeah, Africa! Thank you, Comrade President. Comrade Lulu Johnson, as I said earlier on, is especially for Comrade Tammy's funeral. He's from PE in the Eastern Cape. Thank you, Comrade President. Without any waste of time, you know there's so much that we can say about Comrade Tammy, but because of time we can't say much. I would like to call upon Comrade Commander Dumamlam.
Siaya, 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 siaya.
This is Commander Duma. It's Commander Duma. When you talk about Commander Duma, suppose Commander Commander Duma is a fighter. Commander Duma survived the Battle of Mutale. He fought the Boers from 8 o'clock in the morning until 5 o'clock in the evening. We'll tell you about that battlefield. There were 9 comrades who came into that country. Unfortunately, 5 comrades died in that battle. Comrade Duma, Comrade Gap, Comrade Pele, and Comrade Mkolisi survived. And unfortunately, Comrade Gap, because he was shot, and unfortunately, I was speaking to him yesterday, he could not make it. He was arrested in Venda, but as a commander, he managed to escape. But Comrade Duma, we are here, comrades, we welcome you to say it's very important, comrades, I know we don't have time, to say sometimes when we talk about UMK, about comrades, there's stories that we can tell. Unfortunately, we could not talk about some of the things that happened here in Midval. There were a lot of things under the leadership of Comrade at the late Comrade time. But comrades, I want to present to you Commander Duma. Commander Duma is the fighting force of Umkhonto Wesizwe. He was trained in Angola and is a special force. Our special force is a comrade that is serves as the president. Comrade Duma.
Segments of power. Not the segments of power. Mangibingelele ngokhele zami. Ngiyacabanga ukuthi zonke ihlalo ngokulingana kwazo. Nobhala wesifunda sethu eGauteng. Wosikhokhelayo. Siyabonga kubaphathi bohlelo mfundisi. Ngibonge umphakathi, ngibonga amalunga kaKhongolose. The Youth League, non-existent as it is. Uma kunentsha ingaphatheki kabi. Let's look at our mother body. Ukuthi konakele phi kwaKhongolose when we no longer have the Youth League. Oh, why is it on your open? Ngiyabonga mfana wakade that ucommander no asihlukanisi, the commissar, the fighting commissar uThami
Mali Hart Sebande wakufundisa kahle. Comrades, I've met Uratami. Mina bengimbiza uBrati. May his soul rest in peace. A revolutionary, a gallant fighter, a family man. Sanbonga mndeni wakwaMali ukusiboleka insizwa efana nale. Ngiyakubona, ngiyakuzwa mongameli wami uKhosas Comrade Lulu Johnson. Ngiyezwa uyazithinta le indaba zika 84. When I met with Comrade Uthami, it was before we left for Amahlatamnyama. When himself, together with Ukomisa Opa Tekerem Naring, were the leaders who were organizing that strike in November. uDeclerk uzomdlalela uKomisa. Uzomdlalela whether he likes it or not. He'll have to uBrathama hambe phezu kaDeclerk. Makufikwa ke ngale ngaphesheya wayengayithanda indaba yokuthi sikhulume ngesonto mfundisi. Bezokutshela kahle ukuthi ubaba bekangumfundisi. Ubezothi uBrathami athi iriver. You know utatambe kathi izitrata zegolide. When there are potholes apha elalini. That was Commissar Busobenyo. So both of him and Obra Opa, they taught me a lot. Obra Opa is now an ambassador in Angola. He requested me to ask the family, ngiyabonga mndeni wakwaMali. I hope he'll manage to come uKomisa Tekere Nopala to come and say farewell, my comrade, my brother. Kuleso strike, the Boers abazi ukuthi bashaywa yini. I was very young also, ngijima left and right, mobilizing, immobilization that we are failing to do today as the African National Congress, because we are no longer mass-based. We are aloof from the masses of our people. Let us stop lying. The ANC must lead its people properly and honestly. Comrade Thami taught me that. Sashaya leso strike, saba effective. It was a 2-day strike. It's a Transvaal. But it never ended in Transvaal. It became a national strike. Kwathula kwathi tu eMzansi. Ayanqanqasela, ayanqanqasela. Amafuna kuladobisa. Ayanqanqasela. Comrades. But then, effectively speaking, I was taught properly by this giant. And Nopala, I thought the province would have given the Commissar the provincial status. We are still waiting though. We are still waiting. I'm not criticizing, I'm not saying anything because an application was made to the province. But it shows, masihamba ngonyawo lonwabo. ukuthi we are really not ready to save one of our own properly, because sila lapho sikhona khona. You know, I sometimes used to say, brother mbacheli iminyaka yakho yeqiniso. I heard people saying, uBratami uzalwe 1958. Kuphi? Uqozolo uBratami. Sisibuzi. Yalazi uqozola ngithi. uBratami was beyond his age as a person. He was old, because I remember when I was saying, Bratami, yazi niyahlupha nina nizalelwe kumaqhugwane, because the birth certificate yakho ayikho. So as a result of that, uzithola sethuzelwe ngo-58. Retire manje. It's about time that you relax. You have run your race and you have won it. He has won his race, uBratami, my dear dignity. He has served Ikaya, the African National Congress, until his last days, because he managed. Most of the people here, they've benefited, like the previous speakers have said. Ubeno buntu, ubepa. One other part, engeke nithi anifuna ukuyizwa. Comrade Frank, I don't know where you are. Bekangangeni athenge on lama Red Bull, the tea, the whiskey was there. The whiskey was there. Abengeke ayishiye la eSpar. Catherine, you know, ukuthi besiphuza kangakanani. But at times they will tell you ukuthi uyabona ke manje river sekufikela abantu abasela amanzi ezitshe bazofuna ukugqiba utshelo bethathu. Ngithi ya esikomisa no uyibambe. Athi ngoba ngiphethe wena ngithi please ungangenzi komisa ihoho. Athi andiyazi ukuthi bakusaba wena. Soze basonde bekapha le bottle. And it's true. We'll enjoy our whiskey and sihlukane kumnandi. He will joke. So ngiyacela ke, let us not mourn. Let us celebrate the life of a giant. And let us sing revolutionary songs. Singathi izitrata zegolide when there are potholes. I remember him, the last part of his stories for those who have interacted with him. Makasese Angola uthi there was one comrade, ngikhohlwa igama lakhe, I know the comrade. Waphuma enkampini azishayela into zakhe ngaphandle makabuya ugaxe ibhandolini yakhe ugaxe ikhe yakhe uyohlala phezu kweravini. Yakasithanda leso story. Uthi uzwa sebambiza because he was also commanding in that camp. I'm not sure whether kuseKibashe or which camp is that. Athi uyezwa nje komisa hoza nangu ufuna ucommit suicide comrade la. Makafika azidakela ingwenya laphana. Iyaleng and iravini, you know, izowela lapha phansi. Makaqhama uthi wenzani comrade lapha? Athi awu forced to senkosi. That was the fighting spirit of that soldier too. To say, no, angilapha phansi. Uforced usenkosi. Ala umakama ngithi lala kahle mkhondo. Lala kahle qhawe. Usivulele indlela phambili. Ngiyabonga mphathi wohlelo.
Siyabonga Commander Duma. Amandla. Yeah, comrades. Commander Dibuile, President Dibuile. Without any waste of time, re tlo kopa batla jwetsa bontate ba itse re kenya Khosatu, but Khosatu they are not here. Re tlo ba thola Okay, Baba Kenya, I'll check it. But comrades, one of the things that they were saying, comrade time, another school, and maybe comrade Lulu, how did it go? You know, we used to have a protect. Remember, those who are in the education fraternity, they would know that gave birth to Abokanya College and other things. But there are so many stories that we can tell. Comrade Tum, itemani bamba in November, bese siqalile thina mo September. The second comrade Tammy, the ba opotse bona bo comrade Opa munare ngaba yetsa. Tuna vale ne sense re qadile. Impa ya ona mathata bese sonke. Yeah, comrades, menza lukisa jwalo. There are so many stories that we have to tell and to write and to document. Comrade Thomas, about our assistant, we were doing things. But we expose about because they said we are close to comrade time. These are the stories, but comrade Tumani must tell stories about. No, not like you do. The girl fella, you must know that. But comrades, education is very important. It was important to comrade time. Hence, the comrades, the cream of leadership, those, especially the young lions, the detachment of the young lions, the ex-members of COSAS. And then search for the COSAS in them. Okay, but I can say the voice, the COSAS.
Long live. Program Director, first and foremost, as COSATU, would like to apologize for addressing the memorial service physically or through a video camera. I must say, we would have loved to be with everyone in the venue, but due to competing organizational activities as well as the limitation and the leadership in the province, we are delivering the memorial service through a video. To the family of Comrade Mali, the leadership of the Alliance present here today, the leadership of MKVA and the Veterans League, Situkune, Agwehlanga, Elingayehligo, Ikawe, Celestine. In our view, Comrade Mali is known across the revolutionary forces as a disciplined cadre who laid his love for the liberation of this country. He was a rare breed of MK soldier who understood the theory of the revolution. He dedicated his life to the people of this country. He loved the ANC and died with his boots on. As a disciplined cadre, par excellence, he served in the ANC Provincial Disciplinary Committee. Comrade Mali was a worker in his own right. We remember him as the HOD of the Department of Education, and he worked at the Department of Infrastructure Development. Some of us met Comrade Mali at that department, the Department of Infrastructure Development, in many platforms and in many committees. We shared with him the frustration of workers, and in return, Comrade Mali will take us through a revolutionary theory, a theory of the working class and how the leadership should behave when dispensing their responsibility as the leadership of the movement as well as the leadership of a trade union organization. Comrade Mali was never shy of raising issues which are averse to the progress of the movement and the alliance, and in particular the African National Congress.
No, comrade, tu qetile comrade. There were comrade. After we load shedding kapo. Okay, but comrades, thanks a lot. Comrade, at this point in time, re buile re utlwile dipika, re utlwile family. We have listened to the comrades who shared the battles with Comrade Mali, who's stayed in Angola, who were working with him, the mass democratic movement structures. Now we call upon the movement. You know, protocol movement, if the ANC speaks, kere ke itswile, kere ha bishop atla. But mruti, akere o kena ANC re qetile. Ha o sa na to objecta. Comrade Comrade, no, Comrade, I'm the program director. Comrade Mbulelo, what's one to Tamasola Kiri? Bari Kupulakari orders, but you comply and complain after. So, Comrade Mbulelo, please come and say a word when we say Comrade, no bala PS. Because I've nana got but I capture the PS Abua, Sensei Fifi. Comrade Mbulelo is one of the senior members of Mkonto Wesizo. He's one of the comrades, many comrades defeated in Angola. That's why it's so easy to say Commander Ungakuluma. After Comrade Mbulelo, go straight to Nopala Chigadele. Please, comrades, because of the
Mandla. Matla. I did what soldiers of Mkonto Wesizo don't do. We were taught disciplined, but I felt it would be a miss of me and a betrayal to what Commissar Busobenyoka stood for if I don't say anything. I would never live with my conscience. I don't know Mali from point of view of the theoretical treatise and many things that have been said about him. I've lived with him in the best of times and in the worst of times. So I asked of your indulgence. I'm not ill-disciplined. Secondly, you told me that I should say something. And I felt you owed me, not me owing you. When I came in here, I came here to listen. And you said to me, oh, you must speak, so I'm honoring you. Now, having said that, Provincial Secretary and all leadership in its diversity, all protocol observed. Commanders and commissars of our glorious arm Mkonto Wesizo, I stand here humbled by a life so humble yet so great. One author once said, there's nothing as great as being humble in your greatness. And that's what this man, this commissar represents in the history of Mkonto Wesizo. I'm talking from 1961 until we are unbanned. This man was an epitome of what humility means. And humility means, in the context of MK, respect for our people, discipline, making sure that the African nation, we are not mercenaries. We are people soldiers. Therefore, ours first and foremost that he taught us is to make sure that we are soldiers, we are politicians with arms in hand. Those who have made us to look like clowns on television and do things that are linked to the culture of Mkonto Wesizo have got nothing to do with the history of this country. Abazogcoka ama-uniform badubule phezulu balimaza abantu, they don't represent this man. I think it's important to say that. And I say it because the impression created that has made and destroyed a legacy from 1961 to 1990. It's as if for these men and women who go to funerals drunk and shoot upstairs. That's the presentation of a great legacy of Vusi Lemini, a great legacy of Solomon Mahlangu, a great legacy of Chrisani, a great legacy of Oliver Tambo. That's represented by people who wear uniform as a pep store and represent this man. I cannot be quiet about that. With due respect, Provincial Secretary, I have to say it. I have to say it because all of us are in pain, we are hurting. It cannot be that in 27 years, a glorious movement that's over 100, the biggest, the oldest ever in the world, in 27 years, it gets less than 50% of votes in this country. It cannot be. Something is definitely drastically wrong. And we must look ourselves in the mirror and say, who is killing this movement? It cannot be a man like that.
Wathinta abafazi, wathinta imbokodo, wathinta abafazi, wathinta imbokodo, basoko uzawufanya. Viva Lucia, viva! Roar Young Lions, roar! Anzwakale. Roar Young Lions, roar! Viva Sanko, viva! Viva Kosatu, viva! Viva SACP, viva! Viva ANC, viva! Viva President Ramaphosa, viva! Viva Minanawe, viva! Viva Baba Mali, viva! Long live the undying spirit of Comrade Thamsanqa Mali, long live! Thank you very much, Program Director. Mbulise abomndeni, intuduze, ngiyafisa ukuvula iverse. Manje iverse engayifundiswa uBrathami ithi Modimo wa Jakobo wa tseba ke bo mantshwantse ba retele pele. Jwale ke na le limitation ya di-verse tse ding. Ke rata le nngwe ya Paulo a re ke kitimile ke qetile ke a le tshedisa ba Mali bana ba ntate Mali bo abuti le bo ausi go tswa botebong ba pelo ya ka before ke bala lengolo le ke fueng ke ANC. Ke rata go rolona mehla le mehla le re o kholo lwami ndonyuka nalo, o kholo lwami ndonyuka nalo, amandla Baba Mali ngiyanibiza futhi nginibiza mangithi Oliver Tambo, Oliver Tambo, Oliver Tambo, tshedisa ma-comrade gobane nako e nngwe mesebetsi e tjena re a lebala ho itshedisa re bua ka mathata a rona be re lebala hore re maqebaqeba re tsamaya re jarile maqeba o re ntate o mong ka letsatsi le leng re le Maritzburg athi sengimanxeba-nxeba zinsizwa zangakithi jwale ha o le tjena ke ke rate ho ska bua speech ene ke sa rate ho araba batho ba buileng before nna hobane ke tlile ke tseba hore ke tlo reng o bona motho a arabang ke o sa tsebeng hore na tlo reng ke tlile mo ke tseba hore ANC e kile ya ba lehlohonolo ya recruiter a generation of young men and women who didn't think about self, who thought about their people and expressed love to their people by fighting apartheid government. We should never forget that generation. In that generation, the name of Comrade Thamsanqa Mali is there. Hona le batho mabitso a bona re ka sehlolo a bona hantle a kile a ba teng a fella moyeng le lehlohonolo ba Mali lebitso le dutse le mabitso a maholo lebitso a pela Khrisane lebitso a pela Oliver Tambo le masola mangata ere re sebedise meetlo o re ipotseng rona ba setseng hore batho ba tlo re pakela ba reng ka rona hobane ha o sena taba ka wena we are living an empty page. We have nothing to write. We stand here with pride that we can speak about Thamsanqa Mali. Ordinarily, if I was not a provincial secretary, I would say I am not qualified to speak about Thamsanqa Mali. I am not qualified, but my position qualifies me to speak about the Commissar. We shouldn't forget their role, but we shouldn't live in their shadow. And every day when we speak about the past and do something different in the present. If we want to remember Thamsanqa Mali, we must represent what he said. One of the things he said to me, Begala, Jonga Mfegas, noise and populism doesn't make you a leader. That's a commissar. It is not the amount of clapping you get to be a leader. It is not an amount of an attack you throw to be a leader. It is not the noise you make to be a leader. And then he says to me, do you know what is a leader? It's to be humble and serve. Humble and serve. And that's what we are here for. So if you don't know how to be humble, you are in a wrong gathering. This is the gathering where we take a spirit of a humble soul, a disciplined leader, an organic intellectual produced through the struggle of our people. He is not produced like an instant coffee through factions and caucuses. He is produced through the experience of the struggle. We have amongst ourselves today who are not in the experience of our struggle. Some of us are very vocal in WhatsApps, and it ends in a WhatsApp. Some of us have great ideas. They're sitting with our minds because we are not doing anything about it. I've heard one comrade saying, hey, if you ANC. I said, if you're ngawe. Uba ukhona meeting ANC bengekife. The reason you feel uhambile ufile wena qala. So let's use this service ukuvuselela umzalwane ka-ANC. Your spirit is dead. It kills the ANC. Let's rise up and build the ANC. God gave me an opportunity to meet Comrade Thamsanqa Mali 1996. And I'll tell you a story about certain names, but don't mention me. when we're in education, we had an MEC who ordinarily would be a junior to some of the administrators, including Pratami. And when this MEC was naughty, Pratami would say to me, "Cow is up. Give an account in Abu Youth League. May his soul rest in peace. Does he know me?" And then he would not know how to respond. And later in transport, he said to me, "But who leadership na point and sugeli Taliban? So I had an opportunity to be closer to such a great giant. After I released his book, I had to read it from first page to the last page and tell him what he wrote. But what he did with me, he trained me not to be lazy about reading, but secondly, to be able to interpret what I'm reading. This is what I'm here to celebrate. There's something to celebrate of this life. And I wish one day when I'm old, because I don't want to die young, I wish to be celebrated the way I hold Comrade Thamsanqa Mali. And that's why I said, program director, I'm like you. I have so many stories. You know, once you make a program director with stories, by the end, he's the main speaker. So, we celebrate. We thank the family for borrowing us. I personally benefited, and not only me. Many of us who are in the education sector, we benefited a lot. The secretary, provincial secretary of SATU is there. May you rise, we acknowledge you, my leader. Thank you very much. Amandla. In the education sector, we the young ones, we had to convince him, what is it that we stand for? And how do we advance that? The democratization of school governance was his basic project. So when today we say organs of people's power and go and join SGBs and make them strong, it's because we know the message taught to us by Comrade Thamsanqa Mali. Comrade Thamsanqa Mali, to conclude, was a chairperson of the disciplinary committee in the province. And he worked with Comrade Kabazela. And the Comrade Duma is right. Both of them out of work, there is something holy, you must give it to them. The waters of holiness. And then they would ask you, but one if not solve any problem here, because the problem here is that you are not engaging in political education. Your problem, you are not producing quality leaders. And then you bring it to us. So those of us who stand in platforms about building a strong organization, can you join in political education and produce leaders? Because there are those who have never produced a single leader. Yazi kunokhona umuntu onenhliziyo embi emhlabeni angakaze athengele nomuntu incwadi. Kuri bilu yembi awusokorekela one person a book to read. Maybe you can buy them whiskey or whatever, but we have never bought somebody a book to read. I'm not talking about a compulsory one of supporting children who go into school. That one is compulsory. I'm talking about looking at this comrade and say, I wish this comrade can grow. Swara Bukagie, Bamita Amika Cabral, Obale South African Revolution. Then we can come back and discuss why is the ANC weak. For now, let's remember Comrade Thamsanqa. In the DC, he comes to me, even this one, don't mention me. get appear. He comes to me recently. There's a comrade who's appearing there. So she once had a surname like mine. So he comes to me. He says, "Emchan, I thought you knew me. Chat and Johnny said." So I'm sitting there. I don't know how to account on this question. I'm disappointed in front of me. I thought you knew. So what he said to us was, don't bring problems of the organization and seek to solve it through a DC. Change the organization the way it operates. Teach your members discipline. Teach your members respect. Once they have that, no member will come here clearly. Register. In meeting emotion. Politically matured comrades say, Buddha, sibethiwe namhlanje. Sabathola ngelinye ilanga nathi. And the meeting goes on. But those who says ingam lento, yam, abantu bafuna mna, without mna there's nothing. It's because of us who are not empowering ourselves and educating the ANC. May I say once more to the program director, the organizers, thank you for organizing this session. You have not disappointed my office. It's easy to attack. And let's confirm that we are indeed going to have a provincial funeral because we respect this leader. We also want to announce to you and the children of Thamsanqa Mali that Nogo sibethiwe kuma-election. Sibethiwe ongakayizwa ipeni asimazi uphila. Sibethiwe. And the bigger reason yokubethwa kwethu sithi. So in other words, sizibethile. So size apha ukuthi halirapela lirona lirapedisa. Hariri buluka sichaba. Risikenye sichaba sa Oliver Tambo le Mandela. Sa Winnie Mandela le Albertina Sisulu. Sa Charlotte Maxeke riri Morena buluka. Usi buluke. Usi buluke. Mancha, oh, you ring babu iba cheche, le murao. Iring ma kwala cheche, le murao.
No pala ha buile ha ke ke tla le wetse ke a hlephola ke tse ka bona bua tjena jale se ke tshaba le bua hore no pala we buile wa re ANC ha re a hloleha ke rona ba ileng ba itshitse ka di votes ha ke and comrade mc kuna abanye lapho kuya ama-LTT maraba voter ndesiyabasa bese ngithi ngiyakutshela bakhona siya but that is outside the thing. Comrades, without any waste of time ke nana se re qetile re tlo kopa ntate Dumiso Mali but pele a tla rona le ntate Thomas o batla etsa announcement for the family. There's something that he wants to say so that ntate Duma a tlo fana ka di announcement Then the current leader of the RTT, Comrade Mgina, will give us the vote of thanks. That Thomas, can you come on, and that Ndumiso, the Boga Hofinya. Babu Mali, Ndumiso Mali? Ndumiso Mali, okay, Kupatu Mada. That Thomas, can you?